It's loading up. Bloody hell. Hi there, welcome to Let's Talk Tottenham. We finally have a Monday win and a clean sheet as well to talk about, so all happy days here. Got Gareth joining in a sec, or in a couple of minutes, and two other great guests as well. Josh, the Tottenham guy, that's how you know him from. How you doing, Josh?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, man, not too bad. Pretty ecstatic over that performance yesterday. Nice to see Davison Sanchez finally get on the score sheet. Hopefully people leave him alone for a couple of weeks. And absolute belter and screamer from Lucas Moura. What a goal that was.
Yeah, we've got all that to talk about and lots more. But just quickly, I know you've got a YouTube channel. It's on the description anyway. But for people who don't know where it is, where can they find Josh the Tottenham guy?
Yeah, you said it yourself, mate. Josh the Tottenham guy on YouTube, mate. So, yeah, that's where you can find me. I've got a couple of things in the pipeline. Got a massive charity stream at the beginning of the year, or beginning of the new year. So if you're about on the 1st of January at 12 p.m, come by, say hello. I've got a couple of live streams. Got a brand new series starting up this week, or next week, sorry, for the Leicester game, where I've got a fan of Leicester coming onto the show. We're going to talk football and just have a bit of football banter between us. So, and I'm hoping to do that with every other club that we get until the end of the season now. So,
excellent. Yeah, Josh's Twitter handle is in the description, as is the YouTube links. So make sure you get over there. And Brad Matthews, been on here plenty of times. How you doing, Brad?
How you doing, Chris? Good, thanks. Yeah, as Josh was saying, good to have a nice win yesterday, and that's 3 in a row at home now, isn't it? So we've actually won every game at home now. So yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah.
As I said before, things can only get better.
Absolutely, yeah. 3 wins out of 3, and your music channel.
Okay, I've literally got a video that's ready to go. I've just got to try and find out how to edit it. And then put it on. And at the moment, I looked at the name, The Average Guitarist, but there's about 3 or 4 Average Guitarist channels out there already. So it's probably going to go under the name Brad 60, which is the idea of me writing songs when I turn 60. So I thought I might use that name. But
what do you mean when you turn 60?
Once it happens. Sorry?
So what do you mean when you turn 60, mate? How you doing, bud? You all right?
Good. Thanks, Gareth.
Brad's Twitter handle is on the description as well, so make sure you check that out and keep an eye out for that YouTube channel. And Mac, fashionably late.
I'll be late for my own funeral, mate.
How you doing, buddy? How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Just working hard, running around like a headless chicken. So my apologies for being a little late. At least I gave you notice this time.
Yeah. I can't complain. But we won 3-0, so I'm not that bothered about 5 minutes.
Brilliant.
Anyway. Raw Emotion Pod, that's your podcast. It's in the description as well, but for people who don't know where it is, where can they find it?
To be fair, we don't broadcast live. We record and we upload it. So wherever you get your pods from, just pop in Raw Emotion, a Tottenham pod, and you'll be able to find us. Although that because we've been to a couple of the games, we're a little bit behind. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, the link's in the description, as is Mac's Twitter handle, Josh's as well, and YouTube stream, and Brad's Twitter handle as well. So not often on here we get to talk about a Spurs win and a clean sheet and a comfortable win as well. So we'll crack on, and Wayne Bonner pretty much sums it up here.
Hey.
Yeah, how you doing, Wayne? Always a pleasure having you on here. Always on every Spurs stream. Even though a good win yesterday, good performance, and a good draw in the FA Cup. I didn't know this. It was Brad who told me this off air. Morecambe at home, is that right?
Yeah.
Nice
draw there. So that'll be a nice one. I saw a tweet saying, this is what the FA Cup's about. Let's get a packed house so that more can get a decent revenue out of the game. And I completely concur with that. We especially after what's happened with some clubs over the course of the pandemic when we weren't allowed to go to clubs and watch the games. So I'm hoping that as many Spurs fans as possible get their asses down and make sure that more can walk away with something that can help keep them going for a little bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully it's a fairly big attendance there because they get half the gate receipts, don't they? Each team get half of the seats. Before we crack on, hit the like, hit the subscribe. All helps the channel. Make sure you do that. But Josh, 3 wins out of 3 for Conte. 3 wins and a draw in the Premier League in his first 4 games. We've only conceded in one of those games. Is that what you expected from Conte, or did you think that the lack of quality in the squad would pose a bit more of issues for him there?
I think everyone's a little bit shocked, isn't they? I think everyone's shocked with how. Yeah, my daughter's crying in the background. I can't help it at the moment. Sorry. Go, ask someone else. Come back to me. I'll answer in a minute.
Yeah. Brad, over to you. 3 wins out of 3. Did you expect that? 10 points out of a possible 12?
Yeah.
Obviously, some easier games. Brentford, Norwich, Leeds not doing that well, but you've still got to win the games, haven't you?
Yeah, this is it. I mean, it's played 4, 1-3, lost 1, drawn 1, goals 4, 7 against 1. So I mean, 1 goal conceded in 4 games is good, and I think 2, maybe 3 of those games without our main centre back Romero. So you know that's pretty good. The only thing I would say was that we have played teams that we should be beating, but then you know if we hadn't have beaten these teams, people would be moaning about that. So you know it's a no-win situation. We can we can win the games. That's all we can do. And now we have to. I think Brighton away will be difficult. Or I hear that they've got about 7 players out. So
we've got a few out as well, apparently now.
Well, yeah, there's all this rumor going around about COVID knocking down some players, but I guess we'll find out. I mean, Sonny was supposed to miss that game because of COVID, and never did. So we'll find out in the long run. But no, it's looking good under Conte. I mean, let's be honest. It's not perfect, but I think the signs are there. The signs are there.
Yeah, I mean, Josh, do you think he's got the fans on side pretty quickly there after 4 games? Conte, there was a Antonio chant yesterday, and he stood round and applauded, which Nuno literally didn't move from his arms crossed for 90 minutes. So Conte seems to appreciate the crowd there, which Nuno, I'm not sure he did. But yeah, how have you found Conte's first 4 games in charge, league games?
In terms of getting the crowd on side, I think he had the crowd on side before he even stepped inside the dugout, mate. Like everyone wanted this appointment, and we were glad that we got it. And the fact that he's got 3 wins out of 3 at home makes him the 3rd ever manager to do that at the new for Tottenham. Really, the first ever 3 games in charge of a club. He's won all 3 of them at home. So it's a fantastic appointment. I love the fact that the crowd are behind him. Absolutely love it. The guy's a tactical genius. And I've said it before on other shows, like if we don't do anything under Conte, we ain't going to do anything for at least another 30 odd years. It's going to happen soon. It happens in the next couple of years. I reckon next year we have a genuine chance to push for the title. I don't want to get too carried away, but if he's given the backing in January and in the summer, there's no reason why we can't.
Josh, you need to give me the number of your dealer, mate, because I don't think we're pushing for the title next year, but I think we might get a trophy.
This is what I'm saying. We can genuinely push. We can contend for it. Whether we win it or not, it's a completely different matter. But we are going to be a team that we're going to be a genuine contender next year. I can see it happening.
The biggest part, he'll always come back to whether Levy backs him properly. It's making
this is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Do you think he will though? Because there must have been some conversation with I'm only joining if I get some money.
Well,
this is kind of Levy's last chance. Do you think he'll back him in January or certainly the summer?
I've said this before. I said going to the Conte thing. As soon as we got Conte, I straight away, and I've said it before. I said, we're top four's realistic with Conte because of what we've got. We have got a prime top, trophy winning manager. Jose was a dinosaur. Don't get me wrong. I backed him, and I was hopeful because of his CV, but. We've got a manager in his prime who knows how to win, and I think that's only going to improve Tottenham and the players as a club. It all comes down to Levy. Now I saw something today that, based on what Tottenham haven't spent over the years, realistically we could spend £400 million in the transfer window and not breach FIFA fair play. Now whether Levy will give him such a purse, I do not know, but I don't think Levy has a choice now. It's what Levy's not had. For a long time, well, in fact, I don't think he's ever had 60,000 people calling for his head at a game, ever. He's had the odd set here and there, the odd protest, going to the club shop and then standing protesting for 20 minutes. He's had that, which is, let's be fair, for someone like Levy, that's water for ducks back. The minute he's got 60,000 people and he thinks, oh my God, the business model, which is good at Spurs, the on-pitch model isn't, but the business model is good, and he starts thinking, shit, the business model is going to go down, right? Then yeah, I think he's at that point now where he's got no choice. He had to get Conte. He's got to back Conte. And if he doesn't back Conte, then it's not Conte we're going to be worried about. It's not Conte that he's going to have to worry about. You know, he's going to have to worry about the fans. And I said this on, I think I said this when I was on Bobby's thing with Brad. If he doesn't back him, I think he's genuinely going to have to get guards for his housemate because it'll get firebombed. Genuinely, I think they will lynch him if they ever get their hands on him. So, yeah, for me, he's got no choice. He's got to, and I expect him to. I genuinely expect him to. And this could be, like I say, agree with Josh that there could well be a push. You know, I'm not, you know, I don't want to run before we can walk, but I genuinely think that because he has no choice, yeah, we could well be in a position next season where we've got a refresh squad with some quality players, with a quality manager, and we could be genuinely excited properly for the first time since Prime Pochettino.
It also comes down to the fact whether Joe Lewis will pump any of his own money in or any of that company's money in. Because if you look at the other clubs, you know, your Man Cities and your Chelseas and even your Leicesters, their owners have put in their own money. Although it's classed as a loan. So, but Joe Lewis has never done that, or Enoch have never done that. It's all been based on what we're making, what the company are making.
But that's the thing, though. But they've never been in a position where they've had to.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And this is the thing. I think that something's been said, and like I say, January will be interesting to see what we do, and then you know, as long as they don't think getting a couple of towards the back end of their career big names in is going to settle it. But I think I think January will be interesting. It's more about what we get out, I think, as well. Because obviously we've got a lot of dead weight that we need to get shot of. But like I say, I fully expect some big things in the transfer market because he's in a dead end and he's got to fight his way out, and this is the only way he's going to do it.
Yeah. It also comes down to the fact you have to understand. I'm hoping he understands. We're a football club. We're not someone's play toy. We're not a business. We are a football club. The football club is for the people. So Tottenham Hotspur was founded for the local community, and that's what it's always been about. It's always been about the fans. Now, from a business perspective, the guy's a fantastic businessman, absolutely incredible. From a footballing perspective, he's not a good football chairman. What needs to happen is I wouldn't mind having Levy in the offices doing all the financial stuff. I haven't got an issue with that. What I have an issue with is him running the football side of things. Give that job to someone who is a footballing person, because ultimately all that's going to happen is if you keep running this football club to the ground, not the way that he has been, people are going to stop buying tickets. People are going to stop renewing their season tickets. They're not going to buy the memberships, not going to buy merchandise, and ultimately their profits just decline.
I think this is where you need to create that gap between Paratici and Levy, don't you? It's Paratici direct with the football, goes to Levy and say, listen, sign that, mate, sign that, mate, sign that, mate, happy days. And, you know, as long as things are proving dividend in what Paratici's doing, then Levy shouldn't get involved.
It'll be interesting to see what they do, obviously in January and more importantly, probably in the summer window. But also, it'll be interesting to see what they do with someone like Hugo Lloris, because in the past, it's been, we only want to offer him 1 year because, like, we don't give him 2 years because it's done to a money thing. So I imagine Hugo Lloris is on quite a big earner. So Hugo Lloris might say, well, I'll stay if you give me a 2-year contract. And then the club in the past said, well, no, that's too much. So it'll be interesting.
There's rumours
can be 40, can't you, and still be one of the best keepers.
There's rumours that we're going to extend it amid interest. But a couple of comments here. Cody, what's going on, guys? What's going on, Cody? It's Cody. 3 out of 3. How you doing, Cody? Simply Ace, how you doing? Performance against Norwich was okay. First half was poor, but we improved in the second half, scoring more goals now, not relying on Kane for just the goals. And it's nice to win 3 games in a row, but can't be too much into it at the moment, as much tougher test will come soon. Let's hope we keep this run going. But Josh, 3 wins out of 3, 4 without a loss. I mean, that's just got to be a confidence builder for a team that was shipping goals, not getting any points. And it's got to be a confidence builder, regardless of who the opposition is, to go into 3 real tough games now, I'd say. Brighton away, Leicester away, Liverpool at home. And to get 10 points out of 12 in that has got to be good. Got to be good.
I mean, it's all right, but I mean it's 4 games without a Harry Kane goal. We have to start asking ourselves. Brad, you've seen me in the Irish Hotspur group. You know exactly what my thoughts are of Kane right now.
Yeah.
Personally, in my opinion, Kane's not good enough for the squad. As of right now, he is not good enough. There is absolutely no way you can justify 14 appearances and 1 goal with 1 assist when you've got Sonny, who's got a 45% goal participation, as opposed to Harry Kane's 10. It's not right. He's improved slightly over weeks, and he is showing signs of scoring. But it's a matter of when. And if he doesn't start scoring, then what do we do?
How long would you give him until enough's enough?
If a good enough offer come in January, I'll take it. I'll take it happily. Getting another striker that's going to be prolific. You know, we're becoming second favourites for Vlahovic now, and he's someone that we absolutely need 110%. We're becoming second favourites to see simply because we're not going to offer the money that they want for him. They want £75 million plus add-ons for him. We're not going to pay that.
No, they'll get a skywalk out of it. You know they will.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. I will give you 70 million plus skywalk for the whole of Fiorentina backroom staff.
so Brad knows my opinions of Harry Kane in general from previous shows, and his body language to me is still not right. He's reacting right when he hasn't scored, when he's had his shots. But you look at what he's like with the rest of the team. He's, in my eyes, he's still half-assed. I think we missed an opportunity to get the best money we could for him in this transfer window just gone. I think it is time that he goes. But also I think the problem we've got is because we've only got one striker. There was talk about Bergwijn potentially being used as a top man to give us a bit of alternative. And I think Kane needs to be substituted. I think he kind of needs that jolt because it doesn't matter what he does. He's still getting 90 minutes under his belt. And this is what we said prior when the team wasn't, when the team didn't have the depth and we started to lack. It was, well, where's the competition? They know their name's nailed on. So why they're not putting in the extra effort to be as good as they were? And part of me thinks Kane needs to be dropped for somebody else to play up top. He needs to be subbed for somebody else to come up top to kind of make him go, well, actually, yeah, I'm not untouchable. I think he lost a lot of credit with fans. With what happened in the summer, his PR was badly handled. His statement was late, in my opinion. He should have done it a week earlier. But yeah, I just think that also he needs to be taken off the pitch. You look at the substitution that was made at the weekend. Lucas for Bergwijn. Me, I probably would have taken Kane off, put Lucas up front, put Bergwijn down the right, just so that it gave Kane a bit of a kick up the arse to think, oh well, I'm not infallible. I'm not untouchable. I need to start doing that little bit extra, like I've been doing for the last 5 years. And I think that also plays a factor, as well as the fact that I think he's done as a Tottenham player in his own head.
Yeah, I think we've got quite a few comments here. Craig Bowler, how you doing, Craig? If we brought in Vlahovic last summer on current form, Kane would have been dropped. Simply A says he needs to be dropped, but we have no backup thanks to Levy. Yeah. And Craig's added, in contrast, Vlahovic is banging them in for Fiorentina. And it's strutting around like a peacock, so much confidence, notably different to Kane. Just another one from Cody as well. Life is good apart from the apparent COVID outbreak.
I've just seen that, mate. I've just seen a report coming out of Spurs, ITK hubs, Spurs in the know hub. COVID outbreak at Hotspur Way. Six players and 2 coaches have all tested positive.
Yeah, but isn't he like tier 3
though? Did they have a tier 3?
Tier 3, yeah.
Don't they get that? Whereas we have to isolate for 2 weeks, don't they? If they get a PCR test and it's negative, they're fine to play. Or is that? Yeah. Have I got that wrong?
Yeah, they changed the legislation, didn't they? Even if you're double jabbed, unless you get a clear PCR test or something, then you've got to isolate.
Just go have a party at Downing Street, you'll be fine then.
That's it, mate. Yeah, because we know Bojo's got the gear on tap as well. So, doesn't matter if you're wearing that police outfit. Yeah. I'll wear a police jacket. No one's going to suspect me. But let's be honest, £26,000 on takeaways, £90,000 on wallpaper. Yeah, my arse.
I mean, Brad, with Kane, do you think he's getting closer, or do you think it's a case like Josh says that he's got to be, and Max says got to be dropped? Because I'm not sure that one where he tried to lob what's his name, Krul that was terrible, really. Just concentrate on getting that on target, because then you've scored. It doesn't matter if it's in the corner, just get it in the middle of the goal. But he seems to be trying too hard. But what's your take on it?
I think that it's getting there. It's still not 100% Kane, but he's getting there. I thought that the lob, I mean, if I'd have been in that position, I'd have probably tried that as well. So I don't really blame him for trying that. He just got it wrong. He had a shot that was tipped around the post by Krul.
Yeah, that was unlucky.
So he's getting there. And I just think
this is the thing for a striker, though. They say you should only worry if they're not getting chances. But the chances he's getting, you look at that one-on-one in the second half, you'd have put your house on it last year.
Oh, that was
he'd have put it away. To be fair, the shot with where Krul saved it in the first half, 2 years ago, you'd have put your house on it that he would have buried that one as well.
A few weeks ago, he wasn't even shooting from there, was he? So,
I'll be honest. It wouldn't surprise me, mate, if he bags a brace at Brighton. But it's whether or not that will be what kickstart him. And this is the bit I think that we need to be more worried about. Is I thought he would have kickstarted scoring that hat trick in the conference. You score a hat trick, that's got to fill you with confidence. You've got to think to yourself, right, I'm still scoring, happy days, brilliant. He's playing teams where he should be scoring goals, and he's not. So it's when he scores and what happens if he continues to score, or whether he just goes, I've got a couple, fuck it, I won't bother for a couple of games again.
I go back to Euro '96, where Alan Shearer hadn't scored for England in about 9-10 games or whatever, and the press was saying we should drop him. They played the first game against Switzerland. I put a bet on Alan Shearer scoring the first goal at 9-1, and he scored the first goal, and I think he went on to be one of the top scorers.
He was golden boot, yeah.
Yeah. I think Kane, as soon as he gets one, that'll be it. This is a guy, you don't suddenly become bad overnight. If he had one season playing really, really brilliantly, then you could say, oh, well, he had a lucky season. But he hasn't. He's been consistent over 5 or 6 seasons. So I don't think, you just don't lose that.
Brad, the biggest question is, has he lost the love for the shirt? Is he?
I don't think he has, because you look at that Arsenal game, the third goal, he made the mistake, slipped over. It was him who tried to tackle back in the box. If you're not bothered about your job, if you're not fed up, you don't make that 70-yard run because it's someone else's problem. And in fairness to him, on my viewpoint is, he scored against Newcastle, looked quite good, and then with Nuno went straight back to just defensive play again. I think if he gets a goal under Conte, he'll know that Conte is still going to play attacking football. But to Josh's point, Mac's point, he has to start scoring goals soon. Otherwise, it's
It's not.
How much longer do we go on there?
Yeah. It's not beyond criticism, but I just think that I saw, I'm like most people. I look at when they scored a goal, is Kane celebrating? Is he smiling? He looked like he was smiling yesterday when Spurs scored.
He did with Sanchez's goal. He certainly he went up to Sanchez, one of the first ones. But I mean, you should be doing that anyway. You can't really say, it's good he's celebrating the goal. You should be doing that anyway.
I don't think he ever lost love for the club. I think he just didn't. He lost with the owners basically because he didn't get what he wanted. And let's face it, we were a mess at the end of last season. We were an absolute mess, and Nuno, bless him, didn't really make that mess any better. But now I think we've got a manager there, and hopefully he'll get the backing. And Kane has always said that if he sees a future at Tottenham, he will stay. And I think he must. Like us supporters at the start of the season, we'd have thought, oh, gee, we might scrape 7th or 8th, maybe have a run in the cup. Now we're all going, oh, next season we're going to push for the title. So that shows you how much a decent manager can have an effect on you. And if it has an effect on us as fans, I'm sure it has the same effect on someone like Harry Kane. So I'm sure once he starts scoring, he'll go and at the end of February, end of March, we'll be thinking we won't even be talking about it anymore.
I'll be honest, Brad. I remember when I used to be young and you're all full of hope and.
But at the same time, you've got to. I'm sick and tired of this narrative being pushed. Like, I'm not saying anyone here, but like, there's a generic narrative amongst the Spurs community that Harry Kane needs to be protected at all costs. Absolutely not. If you are a football player and you are held at a world-class pedestal, you're expected to perform on that world-class pedestal, that world-class level that everyone sees you at, regardless of how many years of banging in goals, left, right, and centre you have. If you're not performing, you deserve to be called out. Everybody's very, very quick to sit there and call out the likes of Dele Alli, Harry Winks, and rightfully so. And rightfully so. why is it Harry Kane isn't allowed to be spoken about? It's like a taboo. No, Harry Kane has been performing shit. I'm gonna call him out for being shit. End of the. If he wants to stay at the club, he needs to start performing. Otherwise, I mean, I've said, I'd happy if an offer come in for him that's reasonable for Harry Kane in January, I'd let him go. However, when do we say enough is enough? If he doesn't start bagging goals, when is enough going to be enough? Because there's only so much credibility you can give the guy.
I was going to say, because this is the thing, doesn't matter how many goals he scores, right? And don't get me wrong, he's been prolific. He's done brilliantly as regards, the goals he has scored. But for me, you got to look at the bigger picture. We've had two finals where he hasn't turned up. He's had a final for England where he hasn't turned up. People, and this was kind of the thing that I used to get fucked off with after the Champions League final. I got fucked off with it after the Carabao Cup final against City. Everyone was making excuses for Kane. But for me, Kane is supposed to be, as much as Hugo's captain, out in the outfield, Kane has been considered and is looked upon as the leader. The best of Tottenham. Embodies the professionalism, the desire, the passion, the one of our own, etc., etc. And he never ever gets called out. And the problem is I never see enough in those finals with Harry Kane, where I think he's pulling the guys along up by their bootstraps to improve. Now, if he's still get a loss, but Harry Kane's having the shots, he's pulling, he's trying to drag everybody along with him. I'd get him not getting, him being kind of immune from a bit of a slating, but he hasn't been that guy to be G'ing up the team, to be pulling them up by their bootstraps and leading by example, and it doesn't matter whether you say, but he wasn't getting the service. Well,
that's bullshit. That whole narrative about him not getting service is bullshit. All you got to do is look at the game against Brentford. There were 3 opportunities where Son's passed the ball into Harry Kane's feet and Harry Kane just stood there and watched the ball go past him.
Yeah,
but you're supposed to be a world-class striker. You're supposed to finish them.
And this is what I'm saying. You look at when it's really, really, really fucking mattered. He's gone missing, just like everybody else. But he's Teflon. Nothing sticks.
He's not alone in going missing in those games.
And this is what annoys me. But he's our greatest goals. He's done this. He scores these goals. He scores that. Look at that goal he scored against Arsenal, where he cut in from the left and put it across. Yeah, great. Brilliant.
That goal really annoys me.
Look at the goal that David Bentley scored when he chested it and volleyed it past them.
Look at the goal that
people still think they're shit.
Yeah. Didn't turn, but you don't turn up when it counts. When you're supposed to be the man, then for me it counts for fuck all. You've got to do it across the board. And I appreciate what Harry Kane's done wearing a Spurs shirt.
Right, Jens.
But no, just. If you're going to criticise across the board. He never turned up. He was shockingly shit. So was Lucas. So was Sanchez, Dyer, whoever. Just be fair across the board, because when it comes to a final, you need your best players on point. He's never been on point.
I think any game you need any game you need your best players on point.
Yeah, but you know what? For us, trophy, you'd think we've had 2 opportunities. Granted, we were unlucky in the final with what happened with Sissoko, but for me, playing Kane from the start was a fucking joke. Lucas,
I think the biggest test,
and brought Lucas Kane now as an impact sub. When it was the final against Man City, I don't get me wrong, I think the team were knocked by the fact that 6 days before, that Jose was given the boot, but you paid big money to do a fucking job. You go out there, you got your head screwed on, and you look at your big players to make the impact. And it was just like that.
There was absolutely no way in hell that Jose Mourinho did not have a game plan set in place 3 or 4 weeks before that final. If he was sacked,
he probably already training for it.
Yeah, exactly. If he was sacked, you just turn around and say, "Well, what Jose was doing, we just keep doing that."
Yeah,
Ryan Mason was there, but Ryan Mason should just look like what Jose's been doing. We keep on doing.
Yeah,
and you need to perform like Jose. You're still the manager. That's what you can't. Oh, because he was sacked 6 days before our final. No, there's absolutely no chance that is a reasonable excuse.
Like, you must have paid £10 million or something in compensation, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Why I got rid of him when he did.
But again, it's a poor move by Levy as well. It's a poor move across the board. The club's just been an absolute shambles. And now that Conte's back in, let's say back in charge. Now Conte's on the helm. Like, we can start looking forward to things. The biggest test for Harry Kane is going to be against West Ham because games like that, we need him to turn up.
Yeah.
If he does not turn up, I will be very, very inclined to be like, off you go, see you later. I'm done with you.
Yeah, a couple of comments to your point there of Levy. Kane has no backup. Dreadful mismanagement. We can all agree to that. Cody
Son can play in that position. So can Moura.
Lucas can play up top. Granted, they're not as good, but this is the bit that this is why I say, Cody. This is part of the excuse crowd. Well, he's knackered. He's got no backup. What else are we supposed to do? We've got players who can do that. We've got players who are able to kind of, even if you play Lucas slightly back with, your Bergwijn slightly back with Sonny and Lucas, ahead, left and right.
The thing about having a backup for Kane, although it's a valid argument, we should be getting another striker in to make that move from being a decent club to a big club. Because
this is the thing. Under Nuno, you're not going to. Under Nuno, you weren't going to attract that kind of player. You weren't going to attract that kind of player.
Maybe we will with Conte. Maybe we will with Conte when. Yeah, I bet leave 75 million for Vlahovic. I can't see us paying that.
Plus add-ons.
That's the sort of thing we should be doing.
Hasn't Inzaghi been offered to us?
Inzaghi?
Someone from...
I wouldn't take him. I wouldn't take him.
Is that Insigne?
I want Vlahovic. I want Vlahovic. I'm not going to settle for anything less than Vlahovic. Levy, get your fucking hand out. Get the checkbook out. Fucking start Frank out.
He's in the chat. He's in the chat.
At the end of the day,
he's just done a super message. At
the end of the day, Levy's a Spurs fan, or so he says. If he really loves his club like he says he does, he'll do what's right by the club and not what's right by his bank balance.
I think that's where Conte comes in because you've had three managers there. Even Jose was like, yeah, I'll do what Levy says. Conte ain't going to be like that. But a couple of comments from Craig. Back on the COVID thing, a rumour that Mason, Hill and Royal had tested positive, which is why they were missing for the Norwich game, which, possibly, I didn't hear anything about COVID until we came off air today.
Ivan Toney, wasn't it? Because Ivan Toney was missing because of COVID. And we only played him on Thursday night.
And then, and regarding Kane, Craig says, at the elite level, just losing that edge makes a massive difference. Confidence looks a bit shot. He got pocketed in the Euro final. City didn't follow through with their tapping up. There's no doubt that the lack of move to Man City affected him. I think he got over the fact that he can't be bothered or he was sulking by that Arsenal game and now the confidence is shot to pieces. But again, when you say enough's enough, he has to start scoring soon. Otherwise, there's going to be serious. And certainly if Conte goes and gets Vlahovic in January, if he's not scoring, then maybe that's what he needs, like Max says. Maybe that's what he needs, a top striker in, and then you're fighting for your place as top striker.
Yeah, then you can drop him. You can bring in another striker.
Yeah.
At the moment, who are you going to replace him with? Yeah, you can play Moura up top. Yes, you can play Son up top. But we haven't got any sort of proper, big number 9, as Jimmy Hill used to say. That can play there. Dane Scarlett's too young. He might fill the spot in a few years' time, like Cade himself did as he was coming through. But at the moment, there's no one there. So you need, as I said before, you need that backup. But you also need to show what we want to do as a club. Have these decent players on the bench, And then, as I said before, you've got to have the owners. They've got to put some of their own money in. Yeah. Even clubs like Leicester, their owners have put money in. But there's a thing that came out, and our owners have put none of their own money in. It's all. No.
It'll be very interesting in January, certainly in the summer. Both, being that we've got Conte now, who must have had some kind of reassurances, and if he doesn't get those reassurances, we'll not think twice about just going, okay, bye.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. In terms of positivity. Are we back in the top 4 race? For me, I think we definitely are. I've got a little graphic as well to show for this. I'll probably get a little bit panned for this. But this is the table as it stands. We're 5th, 2 points off of 4th with a game in hand. And, if we win that game in hand, tongue-in-cheek here, 7 points off the lead.
Chris, you've got a graphic. You've nicked that off. You've nicked that off the BBC website. You've just taken the red and green arrows off it.
Yeah. I work in the day. I ain't got time to do my own table. I have to nick it from someone else. But yeah, I mean, Josh, are we in the top 4 race now?
Do you want me to be realistic?
Yeah.
No, we're not.
Really,
We're not. We are not. We are not in the top 4 race until we make signings in January. We need to make signings in January.
I was about to say the same thing. Yeah.
It's all well and good us being 2 points off West Ham and stuff. Fantastic. That's great. We qualify for Europa League the way that it stands. But there are other teams in that league. But this year the league is very booky in the sense of teams are nicking points off of each other. There is no dead set winner. But the league's going to be toughed between Chelsea, City, and Liverpool. That's a guarantee. We've not seen that. We've not seen that for ages. We've not seen it where 3 teams are going at it. It's always been 2, and sometimes there's always been a jet setter that's always been miles and miles ahead. This league is so weird this year, but we need to start nicking points off the top teams. We need to go. We need to. When Arsenal come to the lane, we need to do them over. We need to smash them 3 points. We need to get those 3 points.
We need to nick a point. We need to point out Liverpool. Things like that, isn't it?
Yeah. Even if we can get the point away from Liverpool, I'd be happy with a draw. I got offered a ticket for it and I turned it down because I thought we're going to fucking lose that. What's the point?
And it's on telly, so you can just you watch it at home.
Do you know the funny thing? The funny thing, the ticket was free and I still turned it down.
It's because you're not a Scouser, mate. You would have
true.
their own otherwise.
Hey, free ticket on the appeal for
I think that game will show us where we are. But Brad, a top 4 race for you, or you agree with Josh?
We're definitely in it. I'm not saying that we're going to do it because it will depend on what we do get in January to strengthen. Because Man United under Rangnick will get better, and they've got some decent players in their team. I think that it also depends on what we do in our next matches before January, because with Brighton away, Leicester away, although difficult, they're games that we can do well in. Liverpool at home.
I mean, you say that, but if you
and I would also say anyone that has seen me on these shows before, I'm very much one for the law of averages, and I think we probably have lost our last 8 or 9 games against Liverpool, home and away. So we're due to get some form of result. And a point, I think, would be a good result at this stage.
Yeah.
You say Brighton's going to be tough, though, mate. If you look at their record, they've lost 3 games this season, and only one of them have been at home. But every other game they've played at home, they've all been draws.
Yeah.
They've only won a couple.
Yeah. I'd say out of those 3 games, Brighton, Leicester, and Liverpool, I'd expect us to beat Brighton. They've also got players out as well. But then we might have Leicester.
They're on a decline, mate. We'll do them as well. I reckon realistically, we should be aiming for 7 points out of the 9.
I'd be delighted with 7.
I'd play your hand off. I think it's more likely to be 5.
I was going to say, Sod's Law will draw to Leicester and nick a point out of Liverpool and do Brighton. That's really that's kind of where my head's at. But at the same time, I'm sat there going 7 points, do Leicester, do Brighton, nick a draw with Liverpool. I'll be happy with.
Yeah, the other thing about these games that we've got before the January transfer window, because I think we've got Palace at home, Southampton away. I think is that if we're in some sort of position where we are going for that top 4, then that's more ammunition for Conte to say, look, we've got this. If you only back us and get us these extra players. Because we do need players. There's no doubt about it. We do need players. We do need a stronger squad. We've seen what our second string players are like at Moura. So, we definitely do need to see some players put in there.
Yeah, a few more comments from Craig here on the forward situation. Forwards are all interchangeable when we play in a narrow front 3. Heat map shows Son is playing more forward than Kane and Moura drops deeper than him. And then in terms of the next 3 games, we've had an easy run. Let's see where we are after Brighton, Leicester and Liverpool run we have coming up. And apparently Brighton have 9 players out at this moment in time. But Mac, if we, in terms of the top 4 race, if we can keep within distance of that, I'm convinced in January there'll be some signings coming in, probably some coming out. And if we can keep in touching distance, then for me we are in a top 4 race.
I'm in total agreement with them. We could lose to Liverpool, draw with let's say draw with Southampton, draw with Leicester, and win the rest. Right, take away the cup game with Rennes and West Ham, just the league stuff. We could be 4 to 6 points off top 4. But if we make the right signings in January, as Josh said, this league this year so far, people are nicking unexpected points. You know, Brentford's nicked a couple of unexpected points that you wouldn't have expected them to have got. So there's every possibility. The problem we've got here, or the problem I've got now is you know, you remember when me and you were doing this, you and Mark. I was the forever hopeful, but you know, sort of since over the Jose time, over the sort of with Nuno and everything else, I kind of my hope's taken a bit of a kicking. I'm probably coming a little bit more realistic as regards how I'm looking at things. But even if we're 6 points within touching distance of top four, like you know, like Brad and Josh have said, yeah, the January signings for us are going to be massive, and that could be the difference. You know, to be fair, if we finish in the Europa League place, I'll still be happy. And then it's just hoping for a good January. And Conte's ain't got a full pre-season. You know, he's got a full, a full transfer window to really make his mark. I think it was, I can't remember who it was, Brad, who said the other day when we were on the show that they're seeing today as just one big pre-season and a prelude up to next year, up to next season, as regards Conte. Yeah, but it'll be. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be jumping for joy if we get a top four place because Conte's going to be a pull on his own. But if we've also got Champions League football next season, we're going to be an even bigger pull. And if we can nick a cup, you know, where we get a favourable FA Cup draw, you know, round in, round out, or we do West Ham.
So good.
We're at home to West Ham, so he'll be playing the top team in that. I think he'll maybe forsake the league game before or after to try and beat West Ham and get into the semi-final of that. I think because he'll be looking at that. I think at winning that.
I think you know even a Carabao Cup win, it'll prove Conte's credentials in my. But don't get me wrong. Even if we just miss out on a trophy this season and Champions League, I don't think it's a smudge on Conte's career at all, on his managerial career. But there's just a little something inside me that says Carabao Cup might be something that's there for the taking for us. You know, the FA Cup, obviously, people take a bit more seriously. I'm not sure what's going to happen as regards the conference. You know,
we lose. We get knocked out.
If they put a half-assed team out for the conference game, because I want to see us still look like we're going for it. But yeah, I don't know. I've just got this little niggle in the back of my head saying the Carabao Cup could be that trophy because it's the one we've won most recent as well. I think there could be that little bit that says, yeah, Conte, that could be his first trophy to get things kick-started.
Are there semi-finals over 2 legs this season?
No, they're over 1.
Is it still 1, is it?
Yeah.
Because West Ham at home, although difficult, is winnable. That's a game we can win. Then who do you get in the semi-final? I mean, Arsenal will probably be in the semi-finals because they got Sunderland. I think Chelsea is still in it. So you wouldn't really want to draw Chelsea. But
they showed the other day that they're beatable. You know,
I was going to say, they
1-0, 2-1 up, and then just capitulated.
To be fair though, that goal by Arthur Mazawaki was a bit of a fluky one still. Like
but a top team like Chelsea would never have expected to be pegged back to 2-2 when you've lost the lead once, taken the lead again. Never be expected to get pegged back. And
I think that's the first time they'd lost after being up at half time for about 40 odd games or something.
I'll tell you what we need to do against these teams, and I think we did it extremely well against Brentford, right? And that's expose a weakness. Now, if you look at the way we played against Brentford, we played for set pieces, and the way that we got our win there was crowding the keeper because we knew that their first team keeper was out. If you crowd the keeper, you get goals. That's how we played against Brentford, and we exposed that weakness extremely well. And it's the same against Norwich. We exposed the fact that we could play a narrow style of attacking and we could score goals, and it's exactly what we did. What we have to do is we have to expose a weakness, and that's how we get the points. And I mean
that's where Conte comes in because tactically, he's so meticulous. Whereas Nuno had Plan A, and when that didn't work, then his arms got crossed, and then that was it. Whereas Conte will go into a game with a Plan A, B, C, and D. Start with A. If that doesn't work, okay, B, and then he's got 2 more up his sleeve. So he'll be working meticulously, I think.
And this goes back to what I was saying earlier, and what Josh was saying about Jose had a plan, but because we've now got a prime manager, because he is, no ifs, buts, or maybes. I still can't believe he's actually our manager. He's that prime, in my opinion. You know that we've got a realistic chance, and this is probably where I get my little bit of a twinge about possibly the Carabao Cup being something that is something, and it's sod's law. I can see it. We're gonna make it to the final. We'll beat West Ham. We'll do Arsenal in the semi. We'll get Chelsea, and then we'll end up beating Chelsea 2-1, right? Just because it's written in the stars for Conte to get one over Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? And you know, watch this space. You heard it here first, just in case that does happen. But it does. But it's just
Mystic Mac.
I've just got this feeling. I think the Carabao Cup is probably our best avenue at the moment. You know, unless we get like a super favourable draw with the FA Cup, and I can just see it. Sod's law. It's going to be, you know, Tottenham, Chelsea. We've got a good, and okay, you know, we played them a couple of times in the final. We've lost to them and we beat them. You know, as well. So I think, yeah, sod's law. We get Chelsea in the final and we end up doing them.
Do you know what? I'd love Sunderland to do Arsenal over, and then we get Sunderland. I'd love to do that. Away days in Sunderland, mate. Oof. The stadium I like when that goes off is brilliant.
This time of year, brilliant, yeah.
I think Conte will be playing for the Carabao Cup because it's the quarterfinal at home. He'll see that as a realistic way to get into the semi, and then you never know, semi, and then a final. So I think he'll be playing a stronger team as he can in that, and then if that means he has to drop a couple of players or rest a couple of players for the league game before or after, then so be it. But if we can stay in that top four hunt before, and then come January, sign a few players in. Quality players in that Conte wants. I'm optimistic about getting that top four, but obviously we need to keep. If come January, you know, we're 7 points adrift, then it's probably a no-go. But if we're where we are now, or a couple of points behind, I don't see any reason why we can't get top four if we get a few signings.
Technically speaking, we're in the title race.
I'm gonna make a bold. I'm going to make a bold prediction as well.
Let's be technical, not realistic.
I like your optimism, Brad. I like it.
I'm going to make a bold prediction there as well. Right, our January window is going to be busier than our summer window. I can just see it now. There is going to be a massive turnaround in January, and a lot of people. I know Cody Mack doesn't agree with it because I think he's made a comment before that we're not going to sign anyone in January. Same with Detrix as well. If Detrix is watching about, like, we're not going to get anyone in January. I guarantee we make at least 2 or 3 big signings, and we offset and we offload the dead weight. Dele Alli's going to be gone. Harry Winks is going to be gone. They're the 2 biggest dead weight we've got there.
So I tell you, I agree with one of those. I think Harry Winks will stay.
Yeah, I think Conte will like him.
Yeah,
Dele, I agree, he's got to go, but whoever pays any money for Dele Alli, I don't know.
And Ndombele goes as well.
Better going forward. And Ndombele, Ali, I think are the 2. I think even the Celso, I don't even think the Celso's safe. But I think for some reason, I just think Winks.
Giovanni the shit show.
Yeah. Huh? What?
Yeah,
Giovanni the shit show, as I like to call him.
But yeah, I think Winks is going to stay, mate. I genuinely do. I think and for me, when I've seen him play under Conte since he's come on a couple of subs appearances, I don't think he's done himself bad at all. He's better at going forward with the ball than Skip, but there's a lot of similarities between him and Skip in the way that they hold up, they play the safe ball, and they can help sort of get it out. For me, but so I think for me, Winks is probably going to stay. It's definitely Dele. Dele's got to fucking go. He's
100%.
Who's going to pay for him though? This is the guy who just looks like he doesn't care anymore.
Take Dons for free. I'd be quite happy. You know, get him a place up Fisher Meat. You know, not a little place where he can sit and, you know, do his TikToks and stuff, and then happy days. You know, just give a fuck. He's out of the way then.
I'd just terminate his contract. He's taken up a massive, he's taken up a massive wage bill. Massive wage bill. He's the 5th highest paid player in the club, and he never gets played because his attitude is fucking piss poor.
Yeah. And if you got rid of him, you've opened up more money to be able to offer whatever the Fiorentina fella, can't pronounce it.
Vlahovic.
Money. Who?
Vlahovic.
Vlahovic.
It's Vlahovic.
I need phlegm for that, do I?
It's basically Vlahovic without the D.
Good night, boys. I'll see you later.
In terms of the game that we've just played, Josh, my worry for Brighton is you've mentioned it here. They've had draws, so the issue again, putting the ball in the back of the net. Norwich, it would have been a different result if they'd have had a good striker. They had 3 real clear chances there. They haven't put it in. 3 real good chances. That's my worry with Liverpool. We give those chances to Mo Salah. He's got a hat-trick. But yeah, Brighton will be the same. It's about putting the ball in the net, so we're going to give the chances away. But I mean, how did you see that? Brad, you were at the game.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one after 2 minutes or whatever it was, he's gone straight at Loris's legs. But
they did have. I mean, for me, they had more possession than I would have liked the opposition to have. I mean, my theory at the time was that we're not fit enough at the moment, so we can't press like we do for 90 minutes. So I thought the second half we'd press a lot more, and we probably did from about 60 minutes onwards. But yeah, they did have chances, but they didn't score them. You know, it's you can't. No one's gonna. When you look at the statistics, no one's gonna sort of think, oh, they had chances. You're just gonna see 1 goal in 4 games we've conceded. So, and we've looked reasonably comfortable defensively in the other games. So, it was just one of those games. I think we still have a problem between our midfield or defensive midfield and our attack. It's still what I call a bit of a polo in that there's a hole in the middle. And so you need that creative midfielder a la Ericsson. But then if you bring an Ericsson in, then where does that place Moura? Because he's obviously the one that's going to miss out if you're playing a 3-5-2 formation. Whereas at the moment we're playing a 3-4-3 formation. So I don't know. I love what Skip does. I love what Højbjerg does, but they're still reasonably defensive. I mean, Skip showed to me yesterday that he can actually be that ball-carrying midfielder. He actually took that ball out on a few times. At pace.
I thought Skip was superb.
Amazing. This guy is.
He's the epitome of what you imagine now the fitness regime is with the 3 fitness trainers, because everyone looks fitter and he's sprinting and closing down right to the end. But it's obviously a work in progress. Craig Evans said it's going to be so hard to bring in top players in January. They're all fighting for trophies with their current clubs. We can get rid of players on loan to make room for the summer. I think Craig, you're underestimating the Conte effect there. I think if Conte wants you
I'll be honest, though, Chris. I agree with Craig. I think we're going to see more going out than we are coming in, ready for the summer, because there are these players that you want to have, who Conte is probably looking at, are going to be looking at winning things with their retrospective clubs. So why, you look at like the Moussa Dembele, Barcelona, it's been rumoured that we're going to go for him in January, but we're not going to get him until the end of the season. So we get him on a free, So part of me agrees with Craig on that one, that you're probably going to see more outgoings, a couple of incomings, and then the end of the season where we're going to go balls out to try and really pack out what we need to do.
But this is
he goes on to say Kessie won't come in January when AC Milan at top of the league, but he's free in the summer, I think.
But this is where the money situation comes into it, because if you wait until August when they're cheaper, then you might not get them. So you might as well get them now, pay the extra bit of money, because then if you have a run for the Champions League, you get in the Champions League, you get money for being in the Champions League. So that extra 10 million you might spend on a player, you're getting back through being in the Champions League. And
you're not wrong with that, Brad.
But with Kessie as well, if he's got 6 months left on his contract come January, we offer, I don't know, however many million. AC Milan may just say go because we need the money, because we I don't know what their financial situation is, but if they're in a financial difficulty, say for example, they may need that 15-20 million or whatever the bid comes in, rather than wait until the end of the season and risk going on a free. But yeah,
we need to make a bit of money on him, mate.
Yeah,
people are talking about players are defending the trophies. Yeah, people are saying that like Craig said, that people have players are too busy trying to win trophies. I don't see Fiorentina trying to win trophies. Not in Serie A when you've got teams like Napoli, in AC, Juventus. But Vlahovic needs to look at what's the best option for him. City, yeah, if City are going for him, that's a good option for him. Tottenham, Carabao Cup, possible European football next season. Yeah, 100%. Go for it. Like players are going to weigh up their options as to what the future holds. And under Conte, the future looks bright. The future is bright for us, providing that we back him and he stays.
But he's a pull as well, isn't he? If
100%.
Nuno wants you, it's like, well, that's nice. But if Conte wants you, you at least sit up and pay a little bit of attention.
If Nuno wants you, they go, who?
Yeah, Nuno. And just to put this out there as well, as it stands currently, we are currently 6th because Arsenal are 1-0 up against Everton at half time.
Yeah, I just saw that, and Richarlison had a goal ruled out by VAR.
Martin Odegaard of all players.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of yesterday, Mac, Norwich outplayed us, Craig says, in the first half, had 3 clear-cut chances. I think a couple of those were in the second half. Against anyone else, it's a different result. So do you agree with that, or do you agree with Brad that, teams get chances and it's all about putting it in the back of the net and you ride your luck sometimes? Obviously, you've got to sharpen up when it comes to like Liverpool and Vardy and stuff. But
it's the old saying: "Sun shines on dogs' arse some days, and some days it doesn't." And it didn't for Norwich that day.
Yeah, I heard of that one.
It didn't for Norwich. They weren't able to put it away. And I don't think Pukki's a bad striker. He's not top 6 striker, but he's not bad.
But he's also got more goals than Harry Kane.
Well, this is very true, but at the moment that's not hard. So's Fred. So it's
fair enough. Fair enough.
This is it. Even if you said there, Mo Salah, it would have been a hat trick, but Lloris might have kept them out. This is what I say. It depends who's kind of got that bit of luck.
The tactical approach. You don't know. The tactical approach might have been completely different.
Yeah,
this is what I'm saying. Against a team like Chelsea, you're gonna order your team to be a bit more defensive. Against Norwich, they haven't really got a good goal scoring record. So,
yeah,
the tactic could have been focused less on defending and more on attacking and get the game closed early.
And that's kind of what I looked at with Spurs when Moura scored that goal, and I was sat in the south stand and I was sort of sat opposite corner to it. And
that was a goal as soon as it left his foot. I was almost directly behind it, but.
I cheered and jumped up and down like it was a cup final goal. Really, I loved it. It was amazing. It was superb. But that's just my passion when we score. But the problem for me was, yes, Norwich had chances, but against a team like Norwich, we scored after 10 minutes. I'm sat there thinking 2-3-0 by half time. Get the game closed out early. And we didn't. Don't get me wrong. Second half, we were much improved. And as much as it pains me to say it, when Doherty came on, we looked a lot better.
Don't say that. Don't say that because Doherty hasn't been given a chance. The guy pocketed Ronaldo when he played against him for Ireland.
Josh, I'm dirty for saying it, but facts are facts. We looked better. Tandanga is a centre back. He's not a right back. He's not a wing back.
He needed to come off, didn't he? He got done a couple of times with the ball over the top.
Let's
balance. But you look at
turn this argument. Let's turn this argument around. Let's turn the argument around. Now, as I said earlier, I thought that we gave Norwich too much possession for a team that are at the bottom of the league. But that said, if we'd have played Liverpool and we'd had all these chances to win the game, but Liverpool beat us 3-0, and I went to my Liverpool mate and said, "Oh, we should have scored those goals," and he'd laugh at me because he didn't say what he did you? And that's the fact of the matter.
As the saying goes, and if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bike.
Yeah, but I'm going to say that. And this is what I'm saying. You some days you get the rub of the green, some days you don't, and it's just the way it goes. You're right. Pukki scored that one after a couple of minutes because I said, Brad, I predicted 3-1 because.
My prediction as well.
I still feel that Spurs have a mistake in them. It's sod's law against a team like Norwich. That's where the mistake goes. We'd have that mistake because someone against Liverpool, you expect to be outclassed a little bit. Because of how good they are. You know, I said 3-1, you know, ended up being 3-0. It was a good result at the end of it. You know, second half was a lot better. But do you know what? Doesn't matter how much you dissect it. You can sit here until the cows come home about every single bloody game that Tottenham play. And I think what we need to be looking at at the moment is we are seeing signs of improvement. You know, again, I'm going to repeat myself from the show we were on before, Brad, which is Reggie's much improved. Skip is coming on leaps and bounds. Davies is improved. Right.
Yeah.
Where do you shut up, Josh?
No. I'm going to agree with you. He for me was my man of the match. He was man of the match for me against Norwich.
Right. But you look at the improvements. Sorry, I'm just giving you a moment.
The third goal.
Checks in the post, Josh. Anyway, it's but you look at the improvements on some of these players. Yes, there are still things that need improving. Yes, there are still players that aren't going to cut the mustard that we need to bring in. But we're seeing a positive trend. And as long as we keep seeing that positive trend, as long as we're showing the effort, as long, you know, scoring 1, 2, 3 goals is great. But at the end of the day, you know, you take your chances, great, you get the result. You don't take your chances, you don't get the result. We just need to stop over analysing. I think this is half the problem of being Tottenham fans as well. We over analyse everything far too much. We think we should be up here. We think we should do this. We think we should do that. When realistically, under Poch, we were punching well above our weight. But you know what? We had an opportunity to do something special and we fucked it. We had Jose Mourinho. Dinosaur manager, yes, he had a great CV. Yes, I was hopeful, but and what he did with Son and Kane was fantastic. But bottom line is, for whatever reason, we fucked it. Whether that be at board level, pitch level, doesn't matter. Nuno came in, the board fucked it. All right, didn't have the backing, and we're now in a position where we've got a decent manager, but I think we just need to kind of take that step back and take that stress off our heads and just be like, right, let's just enjoy the ride. See what happens this season and focus for next year. Anything we do this season, if we win something, do you know what? Fucking brilliant. I'll be one of the first to get the drinks in. But, we've had too much time stressing our head as fans. I think we need to just give ourselves a break. Give Conte the rest of this season to do what he needs to do. And then next season, let's start nipping heads again. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's what I feel like.
We got this from Craig. Back through Davies, Dyer, Sanchez, Doherty coming on and doing well. What parallel universe are we living in? Hashtag Contiverse.
Contiverse. I like that. Contiverse.
How long have you been thinking of that, the hashtag there, Craig?
But it doesn't take long.
But yeah, in terms of what Max said there, Josh, about looking forward and enjoying it, Son scoring isn't a surprise, but Moura hasn't scored for a little while. Sanchez is only second goal and in the Premier League for Spurs.
Sanchez's celebration was brilliant, though.
No celebration. Those first two get a lot of flack. Moura will always. I'll always love Moura for what he did in Amsterdam, and I think he's the one person in the...
Mate, there's a lot of things that I'll always love Julie for what she did in Amsterdam, but sometimes you just got to let it go. Do you know what I mean?
But yeah, more under Nuno and Jose was the only one for me who looked like he was trying to do something positive. So I'm really pleased for him. Sanchez has got a lot of flack. I still think there's a player in there. Hopefully Conte can be the one to get it. And his celebration looked quite angry. I quite like that. But Josh, Moura, Sanchez, Moura's goal we've already mentioned was the goal as soon as he hit it.
The thing I don't like about Moura, and I'll say this now, is I personally feel as if he thinks he's too good to play for us. In a sense of I don't really think he puts his effort in. And another thing that really winds me up, if you look at it in the way that he plays, he always looks at his feet. He doesn't look up, always looks at his feet. And when he is playing that winger's position, when he is trying to deliver to Kane, his end product isn't very good. Now, play him as an attacker, play him as a striker, different story altogether. The guy can pick a goal. And you see that ability against Norwich. The guy can hold a ball. And he shot. You know what Harry Kane used to do, where he used to be able to weave in and out of players with very little movement.
It's been that long now, I can't remember.
Yeah, but Harry Kane used to be able to move around players with very little movement. He used to always be able to jockey players. Moura did that against Norwich, and it paid off. And I love it. I absolutely love it, and I'm just.
I think he's been doing it a while, though. I think, and then in terms of his final ball, I think that's getting better. There were times where he was almost like the number 10 in Jose's team, and the chance that Kane had where Krul was off his line, that was Moura who played that through to him. So I think he is getting better. But he for me was the only one in a lot of games last season and the early part of this season who was looking forward and trying to make something happen. So I'm delighted.
Josh, I don't agree with Josh's regards. I think that Josh thinks he's too good for Spurs. I think he's too nice. Moura is too nice on the pitch, in my opinion. You know, he gets all up at bit when he gets, you know, and you know, sort of has a little when he gets tackled. But he's too nice. For me, he's too nice. He needs to have a little bit of a being a streak in him. You know, I don't think I don't agree with you, Josh. Sadly, on like that.
That's
side.
all right. It's all right.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't make these shows interesting if we all agreed. Opinions are like arseholes, mate. We all have.
Here's something I think open. In the summer.
I tend to agree with Gareth more than Josh. I think he's actually quite a humble person from what I've seen in interviews.
You know what? He's such a family man as well, and I think he's just such a lovely fella. You know, the reason why I say he's such a family man is you always see, you know, the kids with the families. They're the ones he'll give his shirt to. He sent my daughter a shirt. Right, actually sent it to my house for her 4th birthday, and it arrived on her actual birthday. Really?
Wow.
Right, signed to Lily Rose for surname. Yeah. Happy birthday, God bless you, Lucas Moura.
Yeah,
right.
He's a decent
One
guy.
of his Matt Ward shirt. He's a family man. He's a nice bloke. And
what about
this? If he had just a bit more grit about it,
like Lamella, you mean?
A bit, yeah, maybe not quite as much as
if Lamella.
He saw too many cards and too many injuries. But you know, but he just had a bit more grit. I think. Well, I think that added to his game would change.
Do you reckon Conte will be able to bring that into his game?
Well, he said he wants to score more, doesn't he? He said you should score more.
I mean, in terms of what Mac was saying there, the fire and the kind of not nastiness, but the kind of.
So. I mean, even Moura in his interview said, "I'm not a killer." You know, goals, so I'm not a killer. So some players, you know, I like to see the situation. Maybe you could have, if you brought in a creative midfielder in January and you brought in another striker, whether it be Balovic or whoever. Then you could have Balovic, Kane, Son, and Moura, and you could alternate those. Pick 2 of those, have Kane and Moura, or Kane and Son, or have Balovic and Son, or Balovic, and just do it that way. And then you can have your creative midfielder, and then you've got 4 decent players that you can rotate into 2. So I don't know whether that'll work.
What I meant by I think Moura thinks he's too good. I think it's been taken a little. It's been taken. I think it's been taken a little bit the wrong way. What I'm saying, it could be a nice person all he wants. That's fantastic. But on the pitch, I mean, when I'm at work, I'm a complete arsehole. But any other day, I'm all right. It doesn't matter how I am as a person. I'm shut up, mate. Doesn't matter how I am outside. More as a professional footballer, and there are times in games where he's been a bit too greedy with the ball. Like he's had the opportunity to play a ball when he hasn't. He's chosen not to. That attitude, that's I think that's the one thing that really, really lets him down. His final product is not there.
But there was a period, in my opinion, where Son was just like that. He held on to it for a bit too early. Son, you know. So, but you got Son does play a hell of a lot more than Moura does. So maybe that's something like with Son will come into his game because he's, by the looks of it, he's going to be getting a lot more game time, and I hope he gets more game time because I think he's good for the team. I like watching Moura with the ball. I like how he plays. So maybe that's just something he needs to develop, like early Son did. Because you know, I used to sit there in the stands, and you know, Son would be running down the wing with the ball, and all of a sudden he's been tackled, he's lost it, it's gone out for a throw in, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, just release it quicker. Lamella used to do it as well, hold on for it for a bit too long. You know, so and it's been proven that it can be worked on and brought into the game. So. And I think the way he's improving some players, I think genuinely he's got every chance of bringing lots of different things into his game, not just the fact of getting his head up and letting it go earlier.
This is what I'm saying. I mean, under Conte, the whole dynamic changes. Everyone agreed. When Conte come in, every player that's been playing badly has got a clean sheet. And it's worked well for the likes of Davis because now Davis is highly regarded as one of our better defenders. Even Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer's been pretty good. Davison Sanchez. But there are some players that have stood out like a sore thumb that definitely needed to fuck off, and one of them being Dele Alli. But no, he's a dickhead. I don't like him.
Say what you mean.
I mean, he could stay and bang hat-tricks every week.
Anyway, just before we go on, Josh, Brad, I know you need to head off. Thanks so much, guys, for coming on. Brad, you're going on the Irish Hotspur, aren't you?
Yep.
Swapping podcast streams at half time. So I'll let you go first. For anyone who doesn't know where you are,
Brad Hotspur, my Twitter handle if you want to contact me for any reason or see the occasional tweet I put out there. But yeah, that's where I am. And as soon as the old music gets up, I will let everyone know. But
excellent.
Right.
Yeah, and
Right,
cheers as always for coming on. Welcome anytime.
No problems.
Josh, I know you've got to head off as well. Thanks so much for coming on.
No worries.
Your YouTube channel, Josh the Tottenham Guy. I've done your job for you, telling where it is. But anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean you said it all. You can find me over
in Conte We Trust. Sorry.
See you later,
Brad.
I mean you can find me over at Twitter, JTTG1882. Twitter name's just been changed. So if you've had me before, that's my new Twitter name. So you'll find me over there. Yeah,
I did update that behind the scenes here. So on the description, it is Josh's Twitter handle. It's not his old one. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel. You've got a charity event
on 1st of January.
Charity.
We've got a charity event, 24-hour stream in all aid of Cosmic. That's happening on January 1st, 2000, in the new year. 12 p.m. start, going through for a full 24 hours. Mixture of different things that are happening. There's going to be conversations. I've got Football Manager that I'm going to be playing on stream as well. Trying to get a few ex-Tottenham players to come on. I've spoken to Mac about this before. I'm trying to get a couple of ex-Spurs players to come on. Even if it's just for half hour, just have a little chat. Donations can be given. There is a Just Giving page over on my Twitter and on all my recent YouTube videos. Every penny goes to Cosmic. I do not see a penny of it, so do not fear. There is that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, I've donated to your charity thing. If
you were the first person. You were the first person.
No worries.
I retweeted it.
Yeah, if you ping me the link for that, then I'll so you obviously tweet quite a lot, so I don't know where it is. But if you ping me the link for that, I'll stick that on the description as well.
Yeah. I'll put it in the private chat now, mate.
Yeah.
No worries. All right. Well, thanks for having me on anyway, guys.
No problem. Welcome anytime. And cheers for coming on. And make sure you hit Josh's YouTube channel and the charity stream. And make sure you donate as well.
Nice one. Cheers, guys. Up the Spurs. See you later. Mate.
Just the two of us.
And then there were two. Back to the old days. Sanchez. I'm delighted for Sanchez. I think he obviously has got a bad rap, and quite rightly so compared to for some of his shocking
some of the mistakes
performances last year. But I still think there's a player in there. He's got pace, he's got power. He just maybe Conte is the manager that can get the best out of him. And I think against Brentford in the first half, he was the central defender of the three. I think in that position, you're the kind of one who is in charge of that line. And there's a certain responsibility there. I'm not sure, certainly yet, that he has that. Second half, he moved him to the right, and then for the Norwich game, he played on the right. And I still think there's a player there, and I'm delighted for him. And his celebration was superb. I love that.
It was, like he does it all the time. But I'd agree. For me, it's his pace that I like. You know, I as it stands at the moment, I like having Dyer sat in the middle. I think he's better off as the right centre back. He's got the pace to be able to get back. It's just whether he gets back and makes the right challenge. I still fear that he's become like my new Aurier at the moment. You just because I know he's. But Dyer's been a bit more assured. Yes, Sanchez has been better, but because we know that they've got those mistakes, you do worry a little bit, and it's hard, to be honest, mate. It's hard to sit there and blow too much sunshine up their arses. You know, yes, they've done better. Yes, they are doing better. They've shown improvement but we know what they've been like when they have been playing in recent seasons. So again, it's me just remaining hopeful that under Conte and having the Conte effect is going to be really positive for them both. Dyer and Sanchez.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when Romero comes back, because obviously he's going to be the central of the three. I'm not sure when he is back, but then you'd think Sanchez would go out, wouldn't you? Because Davies seems to have a new lease of life. He's the only one of the three who isn't left-footed, so he really has to play on the left side of that three.
Well, for me, I think it's more a case of who comes in defensively in January or in the summer transfer window. I think in general, I think there's going to be a central defensive addition, but then it's who do you take out? Because you keep Romero, you put in the new guy, and then who do you have then? You've got Davies, who's been so much more improved in his attacking game as well as his defensive game, or do you drop? It's a tough one.
But it's a good problem for a manager to have, though, isn't it? Like all of these players playing well, but you've got to drop someone rather than.
I want to have. I think Davies is definitely doing himself a hell of a lot of favours right now. I think you're probably looking at who's going to cover the right centre back position. It depends what he sees for Davies long term as being a really good cover for left centre back, or you're going to be the main left centre back. I don't know. It's safe, and I've said this 1,000 times before. If we knew, we'd be football managers. We wouldn't be sat here talking about it in our living rooms with our COD headsets on or our memorabilia sat behind us. It's a weird one, mate, because you look at how they've been doing, and you just think to yourself they're improved, but. And it's always that but, and that's kind of what I want to lose with our defensive lineup. I want to lose those, but there's a mistake in there. Sanchez has got a mistake in him. Dyer's got a mistake in him. Davies, not as often, granted, but still has a mistake in him.
Is that through having a mistake in us for so long that we're still in that mode where there's still a mistake, and until we have a quite obvious improvement in that defence, it's still going to be, but there's a mistake. And then when there'll be a turning point, I guess, if we do turn it around, where you think we actually look good defensively now, we look good solid.
You look at it, you look at Dyer, you look at Sanchez, you look at Davies, and then you look at Aurier. They all had a mistake in them. You would worry, you'd cover your eyes any time Moura was tracking back and get anywhere near the box. Sanchez, he's had the mistakes that he's made, and some of them have been pretty noticeable. Dyer's had silly mistakes in him. Davies has had a couple of silly mistakes in him, and we don't. And we were spoiled when we had prime Toby and prime Jan at the back. And then we had Carl Walker and Danny Rose left and right. We had one of the best defences in the league at one stage because
that team had such a great balance with the two central.
It was, but we had forward. I don't know whether they're more focused. They were more used to playing with each other from previous time at Ajax. I don't know, but. Like I say, but when you look at who's our centre backs now and who we've had sort of last year, and the mistakes that had been made and have been made, you can't help but sit there, for me, or I can't, and go, is this the game where we're doing all right, but shit, Sanchez has lunged in, shit, Dyer's fucking whatever. It's weird, mate. And I can't. It's kind of hard to explain, but. For those who watch and listen, they'll understand what I mean. It is that always, but there is that mistake there. There is that possibility, and that's what I need. That's what I want to eradicate moving forward, especially under Conte. If we had prime Jan and prime Toby under Conte, I wouldn't be sat here saying this.
No, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Craig said this, our first team is a good second string team that's challenging for the title. What he means by that, he's said on to say a good second string for a club challenging for the title. I'd bring in two centre-backs to play with Romero. Like you said, who Skriniar is the obvious one that's going to be mentioned because of Conte's relationship with him at Inter. But what would you be your priorities in the transfer window in January? I think for me, a creative midfielder is an absolute must. And for me, as much as I want to back up for Kane, but like we've already said, you've got players who can play up top and you can play in the system without a Kane. But a creative midfielder is essential for me. That's the.
If someone said to me, you could make 3 positional signings, don't ask me who, but if you could make 3 positional signings in January, one would be a centre back, one would be a creative midfielder, and one would be a striker. For me, they're the 3 most important places that we need to.
All equally important, or one or two more than the others.
No, I think we need that creativity. We've said it, Brad said it. It's a polo. There's that hole in the middle. We miss that creativity, and it's abundant. Blatant to see. The centre back, I think we do. We need that additional solid centre back to come in and just shore things up just a little bit more. For me, I'd bring in Skriniar as one and keep Davies as it stands at the moment. And then just that other striker, because we need a striker who's scoring. And don't get me wrong, Kane will score and he might go on a great run, but we still need somebody there to say, well, your place is under threat, mate. Pull your finger out, score some goals. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting your ass on the bench.
Yeah. So I think you're right as well with the Deadwood going out, and that says as well. I think if people like Dele, maybe not Winks, which I agree with you, I don't think he'll go. I think Conte will like him, but certainly Ndombele, Lo Celso. I think that says, well, if you're not pulling your weight, I've got no place for you, and I don't want
you look at Ndombele. You've had 3.
He hasn't played a minute, has he, since Conte's coming in the league in the last 4?
He came in under Poch. He did fuck all under Jose. Nuno couldn't get anything out of him either, and Conte just doesn't seem to like the lazy bastard.
I thought he turned the corner with Mourinho, because Mourinho calls him out publicly on television. He then finds a way to battle himself back into Mourinho's plan, and then nothing. I thought he turned the corner there, and I mean, that said to me that he's not weak mentality in the sense that, whereas Dele now, you tell Dele he's out crap, so I'll just go play Fortnite, then I'll go out with Pep's door, I'll go and colour my hair, something different. He just doesn't care, and he's not that bothered. And you saw the thing in the documentary, it could have been edited, he could have been laughing at something else, but when Mourinho said you're shit at training, he just laughed. If that was a Kane who Mourinho said you're crap at training, he wouldn't have been laughing. He'd have been out training until it went dark that same day. And that's the mentality.
It could have been embarrassment.
Yeah, which I thought that Ndombele had with how he reacted to Jose calling him out, and it just completely seems to have regressed, which is a real shame because he's got so much talent. He reminds me so much of him.
I said this with Brad the other night. For me, Ndombele is not a Premier League footballer. He wants too much time on the ball. He doesn't have that time. He doesn't like being harried. He doesn't like being hassled. And I don't think he's got the calmness to be able to deal with that. I don't, and he's a big guy, but he gets knocked off the ball. I think the Premier League is too physical for him, and I don't think he's suited to it. I think he knows he's not suited to it. Because I don't think he wants to put in the effort to make him good enough for it either. A bit like Dele. Do you know what I mean? Put him in a like the Farmers League over the pond, over the channel maybe, and you might see a completely different guy. Same with Dele. You put them in a less pressured league, as regards pace and everything else, you might see a complete change in Dele as well. But for me, Ndombele, he's not Premier League. He's got the talent, he's got the ability, but I just think he doesn't want that physicality. He doesn't want that lack of time on the ball. He wants to be able to have that time. And he won't get it as long as he's in the Premier League.
Yeah, Craig's asked here, what's stopping Conte from playing a 3-5-2? What's he not happy with? The centres, backs, the midfield? What position needs to be strengthened so he changes the formation? That would be the most important transfer. I think that needs to be someone creative in that middle of in that 5. That allows the fullbacks like Rose and Walker did to go marauding forward, because you've got the person there who can ping them out from 50 yards without even really looking up. But Yeah, one player I just wanted to talk about before we kind of head off. We talked about Ndombele there, who has completely fallen off, and it's Skip. I think he's been immense in the last 2 games. Maybe that's just because he's been tracking back right at the end, and we've been starved for so long with someone who looks like they give a crap.
Well, this is what I was saying earlier.
He played a couple of really nice balls. There was one to Davies, which resulted in a chance. I think it was a goal, actually. He passed it to Davies at
and then put it
Doherty quickly, and then it obviously the cross went behind, and then Davies picked up the piece and gave it to Son. But yeah, that was the quick movement which we've been starved of since pretty much Eriksen left. It wasn't a 50-yard ball, which only seemingly Kane can do that, and he can't do that at the moment. But yeah, and he's running at the end as well. He's closed down. There was one slide challenge, wasn't there, in the second half, I think, where it looked like the Norwich guy was 95-5 favourite to win it, and he slid in cleanly, took the ball, and then given it to someone else.
At pace as well.
Yeah, and that attitude, that commitment, that desire. I mean, maybe it's because we've been starved of that for quite a while now. But yeah, I thought he was immense, and Mourinho and other people saying he's a future Spurs captain, carry on like that. They're going to be proven right.
I thought Skip. I think Skip is superb. The thing I like most about Skip, and this is me going back to what we were talking about with the centre backs. For me, he offers a bit of defensive reassurance because of how well he gets back. I think he reads the game very well for somebody so young. Absolutely brilliant, and he does. For me, I take a little bit of comfort that he's on the pitch when it comes to the defensive side of the game. And this is one of the reasons I say about him and Winks. You know, if you're looking for something a bit more attacking, then I think that the Winks offers you the similar stability in the middle, but more forward threat than going back. Whereas obviously Skip is more going back. But then if you look at the Norwich game, it looks like he's added a little bit of that to his game as well. I just think Skip. Yeah, I agree. There is the potential for Skip there is absolutely unreal, and the fact that he's been able to work under Jose, you know, because even training wise, to just pick that man's brain must be a pleasure, right? And then to have Conte come in, you know, it's going to do nothing but wonders to Skip, hopefully, and propelling him forward as how he is as a player. And I think he's definitely one to keep watching for Tottenham. I think, I agree. There is great potential there for him to become a future captain for Spurs, as long as he keeps going the way he's going.
Yeah, and he seems to have got a good partnership with Højbjerg, which is obviously important. And then, you know, Højbjerg's fairly experienced, so it's not a bad person.
He's making Højbjerg look worse. You might think, you know, I know you chuckle, but there's been moments over the last few games where things have been pointed out on Twitter and stuff about the things that Højbjerg is not doing, you know, that maybe he was doing when he first came in last year. You know, there's little bits where he's being called out, and you know, some of it I agree with, some of it I don't, but at the same time, it's, you know, whereas Skip's going in with man of the match performances week in, week out at the moment. You know, so it shows just the level I think that Skip has the ability to get to. He's probably not far off, and where else he could go it's the sky's the limit for that lad. Genuinely, it wouldn't surprise me. Give it a couple of years, he's going to be having some big teams knocking at his door.
Certainly, if we're not in Champions League and winning cups by then, absolutely, yeah. But I think Conte will absolutely love him, that desire and fight and, you know, work rate certainly. He's possibly the only one who didn't really need many of the fitness coaches that Conte bought a bus full of with him. But yeah, I mean, yeah, and I wonder as well with Skip, because he obviously played for Norwich last year, if he had a little bit more of I really want to win this, because it was his old kind of team. But he definitely looked like he was fired up for that game.
To be fair, Skip always looks fired up, and this is the thing.
He looked a little bit more so on. Maybe that was because I was at the game and Brentford and other games, Leeds, I had to watch on TV. But he looked more fired up to me.
I think he just, you know, I think he's up for every game. I genuinely do. He's got his chance to play first team football, and he's taking that with both hands. You know, yes, there's probably that little bit of extra that he put. You know, he had that shot in the first half. You know, fair play. Do you know what I mean? He was, you know, he did look up for it, but that's the thing with Skip. I think he's up for every game.
Well, I hope so, because that then filters through the team and filters through everybody. But yeah,
sorry, my little man's just woke up. What's
that's right.
Mummy's okay. Come here then.
Yeah, we haven't really got that much to talk about now, really.
No, apart from my little man with his Tottenham PJs on.
Can we get us? Come on, you Spurs.
All right, love you.
Yeah, we haven't really got much else to talk about now. But yeah, Craig's put a comment in. He knows those players. It would have given him extra confidence. I think he's talking about Skip there. But yeah, 3 wins out of 3. Four without defeat in the league, coming up to a real crucial point now. Brighton, Leicester away, and then the biggie, Liverpool at home, which the Liverpool at home will show us exactly where we are with this squad. And hopefully we can get 7 points. Someone said, I think that might have been you, or it might have been Josh actually. 7 points out of 9. Be delighted with that. We'll be in the top 4 race then, and then we've got January where we can hopefully strengthen.
Yeah, I said really. I said you know 7 would be great. 5 is possibly because it's just sod's law. We'll have a slip against Leicester. It's just one of those games.
Yeah, especially after what happened at the last game last season. Was it last season? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? But yeah, anyway, too many reasons to be cheerful. We can't really complain. 3 wins out of 3, a 3-0 win, which I can't remember a 3-0 win for us in the Premier League for a long time. Has to have been before COVID. I can't remember one before that. Although we had a 4-0 under Jose, didn't we, where Bale scored 2. But, it's still a long time. But
It feels like
certainly a lot more positives than we've seen negatives in the last month or so. But yeah, hopefully it continues. Hopefully it continues with the next 3 games and come a new year. We're right up there in that top 4 race. But yeah, excellent having you on. Thank you so much for coming on again, as always.
It's always a pleasure, mate.
Yeah. Before you go, Motion Podcast. That's yours and Mark Sweeney as well. Where can you find that?
You'll find us on most pod streaming services. We say we're a little bit behind at the moment because we've actually been going to games rather than working or sat at home watching them on the TV. But yeah, so that Emotion Pod, the podcast one, my personal one, I think, which you put in the.
Both the link for the podcast and your Twitter handle in the description.
And the Twitter, Mac1882 THFC. If you want to follow and look at the shite that I tweet, then happy days. But yeah, mate, as always, it's been a pleasure to come on and talk.
Pleasure having you on. Welcome anytime. And big thanks as well to Josh the Tottenham guy. You can find him on YouTube, and Brad Matthews. You can find him on Twitter at Brad Hotspur. Please, everyone who's been putting comments in and watching, thank you so much.
It's been great.
Lovely Craig.
Cheers, Craig.
Craig putting in a lot of comments there. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. And make sure you hit the like. Make sure you hit the subscribe. All helps the channel. Be back on Friday. We've got the Brighton game at the weekend, so we'll be looking forward to that. Hopefully, looking forward to that. Oh, really? Well, you have to come on Monday and say how it was, but
I'm going down to Brighton for that one. So it's going to be a nice 2-hour trip down there. Hopefully, we'll get a good result. I reckon 2-1, maybe 2-1, 3-1.
We're on good form at the moment, so hopefully the confidence is really flowing, and we can get Kane his goal, or Kane can get himself his goal, and then kickstart his season, and that really pushes us up
compared to who we've got out. But yeah, I still think we should. Yeah, I think hopefully 3 points for that one, and we'll continue to be a couple of happy Spurs going moving forward for the next show.
Yeah, it's just nice to have 3 wins out of 3. We haven't had that for a long time, and it's just long may it continue. And until then, till Friday, come on, you Spurs!
Up the Spurs.
Thank you so much for watching. For everybody who participated in the live chat and added comments, before you go, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Anybody who couldn't watch the live video, you can still catch us on YouTube. Add any comments, suggestions or questions to the comments section on the video. Anybody who's listened to the audio-only podcast, thank you so much for listening. Anybody who wants the audio-only podcast, you get this wherever you get your podcast from. Alternatively, if you go to Twitter, @Talk Tottenham, you'll find all the information there. We'll be back soon. We're live Mondays, 8 p.m, Fridays, 12:30 UK time. Until then, come on, you Spurs!